What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Casually Fit Podcast. My name is Robert. It is episode 50. Thank you all for coming by today. Got a great episode for you. Want to show you the Fit Fighter of the Week. Of course, somebody who lost some weight, somebody that you can look up to in your journey of losing weight. Got a quick tip or an idea that I want to plant inside people's heads. And then also got the Fit Freak of the Week. Just want to show you somebody who's out there being a freak with their bodies and just doing some wild things. But first off, let's get into the Fit Fighter of the Week. All right, let's kick it right off this week. All right, so we got at Snack Size Fit Coach. All right, so at Snack Size Fit Coach on Instagram. This is Kaylee. She has plenty of workouts that you can go along with. But what caught my attention is that she had a pretty significant weight loss. Let me find the picture for everybody. As you can see, she posts everything about working out. Here's a picture if you're watching on YouTube. As you can see, Kaylee, she had a little bit of extra pounds, and now she went from that, started getting into dieting, exercise, and exercising clearly, right? All you see is a whole bunch of workout videos and quick tips. She writes some nice long things. Well, not in this one, but she typically writes, I looked at some of her pictures. She writes some nice long things. I'm just talking about the body, fitness, training, bunch of information to help you lose weight. So I think she's a great source for anybody trying to lose weight. Because again, if you're trying to figure it out, you want to grab as much information as you can from as many sources as you can, right? As long as the sources are good. And one thing to kind of make sure the source is probably better than most is to take it from somebody who has lost a bunch of weight and is now a strength and fat loss coach, right? So Kaylee is out there coaching people up. Go give her a follow, Snack Size Fit Coach on the Instagram. And let's kick it right off. That's real quick. I'm going by quick today, right? I don't understand why. I will say one thing, a little bit behind the curtain. Typically, I record these things later in the day at like 8 o'clock at night. And usually that's at the end of my week of working. This week's a little bit different. I'm recording this in the middle of the day, so I got a lot more energy than I usually do, I feel. And, it's just a little bit different. It's a little bit different vibe for me and probably for you. But I did want to I just want to talk about an idea, right? Something that, let's see if I can set this up right. I want, something that can get inside your mind, and what I'm going to talk about is not going to work for everybody, right? But it might spark a little something in some of your minds. And that little thing is maybe, well, first of all, look, right now we are in September, right? Beginning of September. Nobody is trying to lose weight. Nobody's trying to get into the gym. Nobody's starting their diet plan or their workout program right now. Typically, most of the time, I think a study revealed that out of all the New Year's Eve or New Year's resolutioners, pretty much around this time, like 90% of them are already completely off whatever they're trying to do. But what usually happens is the beginning of the year, January is like the height of fitness, as you'd say, or the height of, the most amount of people who are trying to lose weight. You're typically going to run across the largest group of them in about January timeframe. And then in September, again, most of the people who tried last year or earlier this year are already fallen off. And then nobody really kind of starts up again until like other new people. A lot of people kind of put New Year's resolution and losing weight together. So for whatever reason, I've talked to plenty of people that think this. For whatever reason, they, it's September and they know they should be losing weight. They want to lose weight. But instead of starting in September, they say, I'm just going to wait till January. Kind of gives them a free pass to do whatever they want for the holidays, right? Eat and, just be lazy and be comfortable, right? It's a comfortable time. We're moving into, as long as you're not out in the cold, bearing all the temperature and the freezing wind, as long as you're not dealing with that every day, as long as you got 4 walls and a roof and a heater, it's a comfortable time that we're moving into, this fall kind of beginning of winter time frame. So it's very easy to not want to go and start working out. And some would say that it's more difficult. That it's a more difficult time because you have the end of the year for work. Typically, for a lot of businesses, they kind of cram in a lot of things towards the end of the year. They're trying to meet their quotas or whatever it is. They're trying to end the year strong. So you got to deal with more than likely maybe a more stressful time, maybe a larger workload at work. So that's the time we're kind of moving into. And then we also have holidays. We have, Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, we have all the other holidays, and we got Hanukkah, we got Halloween. We're just coming off of Labor Day right now. So that means that you're going to have time off of work, which should help you go to the gym, but you're going to have time off of work, and that time's not really going to be spent at home for most people. A lot of people are going to be traveling around. Maybe you're staying home, but you're hosting a bunch of people, so you got to go grocery shopping, you got to prepare things. So it definitely could be looked at this time as being the most difficult time of the year to even start trying to lose weight. And a lot of people can look at this and be like, yeah, no, I'm just going to, instead of stacking the cards against myself and making this whole thing much more difficult than it has to be, I'm just going to skip this part of the year. I'm going to wait till January, maybe February, and then I'm going to start. That's what a lot of people do. My idea, my thought is that, yes, that is going to work for some people. Judging by the statistics, it actually only works for less than 10% of people. So it doesn't quite work, but it does work for 10% of the people. To kind of put this, let me go in like an easier, quote unquote, easier part of the year. The beginning of the year, we don't really have any holidays. Everybody's just working. Things are kind of miserable. It's cold out, especially if you're in colder areas. It's the coldest time of the year. It's January, February. And again, there's no like events. There's Valentine's Day, and there's like spring break, whenever that is, like in March or April or something. And then we get back into summer, right? So that little peak of winter time, January, February, I mean, it is kind of a pretty good time to start going to the gym if you think about it, because you don't have all these other distractions going on. You don't have any trips planned. And as far as work, I've been in plenty of companies. At the beginning of the year, I worked for this mortgage company. January was like, no, it was very slow, right? And I just started, and I was there November and December, and it was more backed up November, December, and then January, February, everything's a little slow. It's a little bit easier. So in that sense, yes, if you look at it kind of on this timeline scale, or if you're trying to find, an easy in, you could look at January, February as being maybe the easiest time of the year to start going to the gym, because you don't have all these extra things. And again, that's clearly a rational, strategic move that will work for some people, right? If you decide that you're going to lose weight and you're trying to make it as fluid as possible, try to put yourself in the best position to make things a little bit easier on yourself, then yes, that does make sense, and do it, right? What I'm suggesting is that there's other people out there. Maybe there's other people who like to stack on the pressure, even though they got to lose a whole bunch of weight, which is already puts on so much pressure on people, especially when you put in the health aspects of it. So maybe some people like a little bit extra pressure. Maybe you need a little bit of extra something, right? Like there's a general, let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's think about this. So the general who is talking about leaving the boats? They burn the boats. Hold on. I should know this. Hold on. Leaving boats. I can't remember. I mean, I'm horrible. All right. And I think this is it. So yeah, General Douglas MacArthur in 1942 in World War II. They basically went to the Philippine Islands, and what they did, I think this is the story, is I can't read it and try to keep this interesting at the same time. So everybody knows the story where some general, he was going to go fight some people, right? And I should know this, right? Former Marine, I get it. All right, maybe I should have better knowledge of history. I just remember a general idea of the story and the basic, the meaning of it, which is great. But he went to some island with his troops, and they burned the boats. They burned the boats behind them, and their only way forward was forward. Like, their only way to succeed was they had to win whatever battle that they were about to do. And so that's insane. First of all, that's very intense. That raises the bar to an insane level. And it could also be very negligent as well. I mean, you have all these people that you're kind of responsible for, and you're basically, what if the enemy came out with some crazy new weapon, and it just, there's no way of winning because they have this extremely high-tech weapon that can just fire at an insane rate and just mows people down. What if that happened, and then they have no boats? All those people die. So, that whole decision could be definitely scrutinized, and there could have been a lot of different variables and things that happened that were negative. I believe they won. I believe it worked. But what it did is it raised the pressure, right? And sometimes when you raise the pressure up to a certain point, once you get past it, it almost becomes soothing. It almost becomes kind of like white noise. Like, you break past a barrier. Like, think of somebody trying to enter our atmosphere. Like, how much pressure is that person having in their spaceship trying to punch through our atmosphere? Like, the things are on fire, right? They're trying to punch through, and at that point to when everything's on fire, which I don't even know if that's actually accurate. Okay, I just watched a bunch of movies, and that's what happens. So we all know that movies are the most accurate representation of real life. So I'm gonna go with that. Obviously joking, but so that happens. But and after they get past that point, once they punch through our atmosphere, everything's chill, right? They're not on fire anymore. The spaceship isn't trying to unravel anymore. It's not coming apart. Screws aren't coming loose. And you get into this perfect little atmosphere, which it is kind of perfect atmosphere. But I'm saying that can possibly be the same thing if you decide to say, hey, you know what? This is the hardest time of the year to start working out and trying to lose weight. I'm going to try to also, yes, this is the hardest time of the year to try to lose weight. I'm going to do it. Even though losing weight is in itself very difficult, it can put extreme pressure on people. It can really test a person's state of mind, really, and their psyche. Just if you start in January or February, right? That's already going to happen. And then you put on, now you gotta work your schedule and your diet into all the different holidays that are coming up, all your different plans, all your different everything. It can really get hectic. But here's what I'm trying to say. Some people thrive in the hectic part of it. Some people like having these things just backed up against each other because it really leaves no other kind of choices. There's no real movement to anything else, right? If you commit yourself to trying to do it. If you don't have free time, you don't have free time, right? If in January and February, you don't have these other things going on, your free time kind of balloons up. You can, instead of going to the gym, you can do a whole bunch of different things that typically mean like relaxing just because the holidays just ended, you just got done traveling. Maybe you want to take it easy for the next month. But so you have that option in January, February, right? So that can kind of deter people. Like January, February could be the easiest time, but it can also be a very difficult time because you have these temptations along with it. If you start to try to lose weight in September, what free time do you have? I mean, we all have a couple hours every single day, but if you're trying to look at this whole thing as this packed schedule where you got to work out, you got to go grocery shopping, you got to buy plane tickets, you got to go get new luggage, you got to go shopping for presents, you got to do all these things. Maybe, now is the prime time for football. Maybe you're super into football, so you got that going on as well. And so putting working out into that doesn't seem like the logical thing to do. And it seems like it would definitely make things more difficult. But again, if you're shoving this thing into your schedule, you're shoving it into your schedule to where you don't have this excess free time to, yeah, you can say, I'm just going to rest today. But if you commit to actually losing weight, you'll see that, that is an option. But I think that having all that pressure built up, it just kind of propels you forward to once you get past the first couple weeks, you're kind of in autopilot. You're just moving through. And once you realize that you can make it through a couple weeks of doing all this, handling all these different things, trying to lose weight, I mean, that's when you really feel like things are moving along. That's where, heart rate goes up. That's where you start to enjoy things more. And if you want, I'm not a fan of this, but if you want, you can bask in your own success, right? You can look back after a few weeks and be like, hey, look at this. I've actually done all this extra stuff, and I've stayed on a diet and exercise program. And then that can just boost up your elation. That can just boost up your mood if you're sticking to it, because you're really hooking and jabbing, right? You're really moving if you're trying to fit all this together. And look at it this way. Some of you might not want to look at it this way, but in the future, no matter if you start, let's say you go, Rob, that's just too difficult. I'm going to start in January and February. Well, guess what? Next year in 2022, in September, you're not going to more than likely lose all the weight and be at the healthy weight and fitness level that you actually want to be at by September if you start in January. So what does that mean? You're going to have to push through September through December anyways. And you're really going to have to do that, might not be popular opinion, but for the rest of your life, because we all have to exercise and we all have to watch what we eat. So that's coming up anyways. You're already going to, at some point, have to juggle all these different things. And you're going to have to make it through it. So you can build yourself up from January to September, right? You can get into the groove of things and make it a lot easier for yourself to do it. I'm not saying that what I'm talking about is the easiest. I'm saying that it's the most difficult. So, and to some people, the most difficult thing is very attractive, right? It raises the bar a little bit. It raises the stakes, and it brings about a few different emotions from it. So I think if that sounds like something that is interesting to you, to be like, hey, this is the most difficult time of the year. The chances of failure are already pretty high. But I'm going to try to do it anyways. That brings about its own drive. As long as you keep on thinking about that and feeding it and showing up and actually trying to do what you're trying to do, and juggling all these things, that I think that can really propel you forward. And that can bring about a very fast adaptation to continue with any struggles that come your way with weight loss, right? Because you're starting at the absolute worst time to do it. You're starting at ground zero, right? Or below zero if you want to look at it that way. You're starting in the hole. So everything up from here is you're out of the hole. You're above ground. And that can bring about, again, its own benefits. And that's why I would say this might be a good, this might be a good avenue for some people. Again, it's not for everybody, for sure. Some people are listening to me talk like I'm a crazy person right now, and they go, nah, I might start in January or February, right? I might actually do it. And to do it in the most difficult time seems insane. So I get that. But again, some people, that's not the case. If it sounds interesting, if what I'm saying sounds interesting to you, I would say to push into that, because that means that it's at least resonating with you on some level. And that resonation could be the thing that helps push you forward. And I look at this as like, some things are good to take the easy way up. Some things are good to build yourself up and build up your mental toughness over the course of several weeks or months or whatever it is. It's definitely good to do that. But also sometimes it could be good to just jump in, right? Back in the freaking 90s, there's a whole bunch of stories from my uncles, other people I knew, other friends, parents I knew would always talk about back when they were growing up in the freaking 60s or whatever, back in super old school time, black and white time, freaking 1957 Chevy Bel Air time. They would always say that, I heard these stories all over the place of one family member or another picking them up and throwing them in the lake or throwing them in the pool, in the deep end of the pool, and saying swim. And to some people, that psychologically damaged them for the rest of their life. So I'm not saying that's a good thing, right? But for some people, it taught them how to swim. It taught them how to really overcome these insane emotions, and calm down and be able to just tread water. Again, not too many people are gonna swim or come out of that unscathed, psychologically or whatever else. but I think it's a good analogy for what I'm talking about. Maybe just throw yourself into the fire. Feel the burn. Feel the intensity rise and feel that pressure mount. And I think that pressure can be a driving force for a lot of people. That if you need commitment with this. If you just say that, yeah, I'm going to do it, I'm going to try it out, but kind of in the back of your mind that you're not really going to put your all into it, then, it's not going to work out. You're going to burn out, in a couple days or so, maybe not even last a week. But if you commit yourself, if you really look at this whole thing, I think one of the things to help push people forward is to be aware of everything that's happening. And being aware of your failure rate, the chances of you failing, I think is something that everybody needs to know. Because they need to know what they're going against. Doesn't mean that you're going to fail. It just means that this is going to be very difficult. And if you go into it knowing it's going to be very difficult, then I think that helps people. It helps myself, it helps me kind of be aware of what's coming at me and to prepare for it. And if something comes at me that's much more difficult than, I can handle at the time, then I understand that, hey, this was coming. This is normal. This was expected. So instead of freaking out about this or being dismayed by this, I just got to figure this out. And maybe it's going to take me a little bit longer to figure it out, but I got to keep pushing through. And I think that comes about when you're thinking about the failure rate. If you're not thinking about the failure rate and you just think everything's going to be rainbows and butterflies, then what's going to happen? Something difficult's going to come at you, and instead of jumping out of the way, it's going to smack you in the face, right? It's going to blow you back. It's going to take you straight off the path, right? You're going to go tumbling down a hill. I mean, it's not going to be a good time, and you're probably not even going to get up off that hill, right? Again, the statistics bear out, the stats bear out to most people fail. Over 80%. Some people think it's 95%. After like 5 years, they think that's like 95%, which is insane. So yes, if this sounds interesting to you, be the weirdo. I mean, because it's a weird thing to be like, yeah, I'm going to start working out in September, knowing that it's the most difficult time, knowing that I got to lose 100 pounds and that's already difficult, knowing that I got to go to all these dinners, I got to go through all these travel plans, and it's going to be very hard to stick to my diet. Knowing all of that, I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to push through, and I'm starting my weight loss program now because I need to lose weight. I want to lose weight, and I want to get through it. So I think that can help some people out. So maybe try that out, right? But that's my tip. That's my little seed I wanted to plant. Just something to get inside, certain people's brains that might be like, hey, maybe this is a good idea to try out. And guess what? Maybe for everybody, even if you aren't really fully committed on it, but you want to try it out, try it out. Because again, if you fail, you fail. If you fall off after a couple weeks, who cares, right? You just get back up, you try again. Maybe you don't try again for another couple of weeks. Maybe you go, drown your sorrows in some McGriddles. I mean, that's what I would do. McGriddles are great. Sausage McGriddles. I mean, I could sit there and eat sausage McGriddles all day. So maybe you take a couple of weeks off, but as long as you keep getting back, the failures don't matter. And if you study any sort of, super athlete, high-level athlete, or any highly successful person, they take failures like, it just brushes right off of them in the thing that they're trying to do. They don't care. Like, for Kevin Hart is like the number one comedian. He sells out arenas. Like, I mean, the dude is at the tippy top level with all the movies, shows, how many people show up to see him. But for him to get there, I mean, he had to go through some bumps. And that's the same with everybody. And the reason why he is where he's at is a lot of different reasons. But one of the reasons is because he kept on just pushing through the failures. So if you are trying to lose weight and you decide, hey, maybe I am going to try this, this difficult time to start losing weight, I am going to try it out. And then a couple weeks or a month later, you fall off, whatever. Just, it's okay. Wait till January then try again in January, and then see where you're at in September. And then just keep on trying to go and just keep on trying to lose weight and trying to diet. For myself, it has never been I'm going to do this and then the next day I'm doing it. Typically, it's I'm going to do this and then the next day, maybe I do it. More than likely, I do it the next day. If I say it the day prior, typically I'm going to do the thing the next day. But then comes the day after that, and then sometimes I do it. And then the day after that, I might do it. And then I realize I'm falling off. And then that third day, fourth day, I'm like, oh, I got to do it. And then that's just the whole process. Then maybe I go 2 or 3 more days of doing it and then fall off. And then all of a sudden, through that whole process, typically everything that I do, all my habits are now, I just do them. But it all started from, the point of some days doing it, other days not, going complete weeks without doing it, and then now consistently doing it. So exercising and sticking to a healthy diet, those are habits, right? That you need to get in the habit of it. So I don't know. Take that advice if you will. Let me get into the Fit Fighter of the Week, and let's get out of here this week. All right. So this guy, he's just interesting. All right. This guy is Matt Gonzalez. Go to Matt Gonzalez at Instagram. And he is an On-It certified trainer. And I'm not saying you should be doing these exercises. I haven't looked into these exercises too much. I just thought it was interesting. It's just something to show you that's a little bit different, right? This guy takes, maces, or he freaking wraps a rope around a kettlebell bar or a kettlebell, and he just swings things around. Now, I'm not sure if this is his entire workout. This is what he does every single day and the only thing he does. But I think it is an interesting workout to do. Again, it's different. Like this one, if you're watching, he's got a rope tied to a kettlebell, and he's just swinging it around. It looks kind of weird. It looks kind of like Renaissance fair fighting, when they put on the fake armor and the fake swords and they get into a field and they start fighting. Like, what's that movie with the Minotaur and Sean Williams? I can't remember the name of the movie, but it kind of looks like that, swinging around the kettlebell with that rope. Kind of looks ridiculous. Well, it just does. It does look ridiculous. He calls himself the Texas Ninja, which makes it more ridiculous. I'm sorry, Matt Gonzalez. I don't mean to talk smack. But it is interesting. And this falls in line with what they call functional fitness. These movements, these free flow movements, I mean, they feel good when you really get them down. And they can really be a good workout. So again, I'm not really against this. I'm just saying it looks a little weird, and it's definitely different from what everybody's used to. So I just wanted to show everybody this, and you can just go to his Instagram and you're just going to see him swinging things around, which is kind of entertaining. But yeah, go check him out. He's the Fit Freak of the Week. But that's this week's episode. Nice quick one for the old 50. Yeah, about 30 minutes, something quick. Again, I just want to get in here, give you a little tip. I got an episode next week. Next week's episode is going to get a little spicy, all right? I'm not sure if I'm going to get in trouble for it. I don't know. But next week's episode, I want to get into this study that I came across. That's, it's a little conflicting. All I'll say right now is it has to do with sugar. And back in the 50s, I think it was, in 54, what they did or not 54, in 40, I got years mixed up right now. But in the middle of the 1900s, what happened with the sugar industry, and what, I'm not saying is happening, but what could possibly be going on with grains and whole wheat, or not even whole wheat, just grains. And so I want to get into all that next week. I got the study, got some things to talk, just some things to show you. And I find it very interesting. And I'm just trying to make sure that I come with all the facts. I was going to do that this week, but I realized I could do a lot more research, set things up a little bit better for everybody. So I'm going to have that come out next week. But I'm excited, right? And that was episode 50. Thank you for coming by. Adios.